12 years where trickle-down and trickle-out growth strategies failed to deliver a better future for them. 12 years where other countries sped past us in the race for the opportunities of tomorrow. And that's what our growth mission is about. The British people are falling behind whilst our European neighbours get richer, in the East as well as in countries like France and Germany. And I'm not comfortable about that. I'm not comfortable with a trajectory that will soon see Britain overtaken by Poland.
Poland has recently broken free from the reputation of being a post-communist country reliant on cheap labor. Instead, it has become a symbol of European economic dominance, technological innovation, and military force. Poland's success has even outperformed that of economic behemoths like Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan over the last 3 decades. It is already on the verge of overtaking the United Kingdom economically by 2030.
Mr. Speaker, after 13 years of Tory failure, the average family in Britain will be poorer than the average family in Poland by 2030. Exactly. That's a shocking state of affairs. If the Tories limp on in government, we're going to see a generation of young people learning to say Auf Wiedersehen pet in Polish, aren't we?
Furthermore, Poland is emerging as a prominent power in Europe. But, despite these achievements, there remains an inherent issue that could stymie its advancement, and it comes from within the country. So, in today's video, let's take a look into Poland's rise in the global stage. The 20th century in Poland was defined by a succession of dramatic events that had a major impact on the country. One of the most significant chapters was Nazi Germany's invasion during World War II, which resulted in the country's devastation and the loss of nearly 20% of its inhabitants. During this time, Poland was the first country to be invaded by Nazi forces, and it endured occupation and severe repression. Following World War II, Poland fell under Soviet influence and joined the Eastern Bloc, a collection of Eastern European countries linked with the Soviet Union. Poland endured economic isolation and stagnation during this Soviet-dominated dictatorship. The economy was centrally planned, with the government controlling the majority of areas of production, distribution, and resource allocation. Due to inefficiencies and mismanagement, private enterprises were scarce, and the nation's economic infrastructure weakened. The fall of communism in 1989 constituted a watershed moment in Polish history, signaling the end of the Eastern Bloc's domination and the beginning of a new era. Poland, like other post-communist countries, suffered a massive transition from a centrally planned economy to capitalism and a free market system. Surprisingly, Poland handled the shift rather successfully. Unlike several of its neighbors, it spared the economic downturns and political upheavals that characterized the post-communist transition in some Eastern European countries. The gradual privatization of state-owned industries was a critical component. Rather than rushing into privatization, Poland used a more gradual approach, allowing for a smoother transition and preventing wealth accumulation in the hands of a few oligarchs. It launched Poland on a path towards a more market-driven economy, albeit not without difficulties. Nonetheless, Poland's subsequent economic progress and emergence as a vibrant and resilient European nation were aided by this successful transition. Poland's path to economic development and global recognition took another big step forward when it joined the European Union (EU) in 2004. This historic admittance was a watershed moment in Poland's post-communist history. As a member of the EU, Poland gained access to a broad and integrated European market with few trade obstacles, allowing it to attract foreign firms looking for new opportunities. Poland's enormous pool of relatively low-cost labor was a major draw for foreign companies. As a result, it became a desirable location for companies wishing to build manufacturing and service activities. Foreign firms recognized the benefits of utilizing a trained staff that was both motivated and cost-effective. Furthermore, Poland benefited from EU funding designated for less developed member countries, with the goal of narrowing economic gaps across the Union. These funding were critical in modernizing Poland's infrastructure, from roads and transport networks to educational institutions and healthcare facilities. The inflow of EU funding accelerated growth and development across the Polish economy. The tale of Poland's economic prosperity goes beyond numbers and GDP figures. One striking feature of this expansion is its inclusiveness, which distinguishes it from certain other fast-developing countries. As the Polish economy progressed, average salaries rose significantly, raising the standard of living for a wide range of people. Unlike in other nations where economic gains were concentrated within a small number of people, Poland's expansion was accompanied by very low income disparity. This meant that the advantages of economic advancement were more equally dispersed, benefiting a wider proportion of the population. This inclusive growth fostered a sense of shared wealth among Poles, promoting social cohesiveness and stability. Poland's history is defined by centuries of geopolitical difficulties and invasions, instilling a strong sense of national security. Poland has made major investments in its military in response to historical security concerns and modern regional dynamics. This military expansion is motivated by a desire to ensure the country's security and sovereignty. Poland's desire to have the most strong ground forces in Europe underlines the country's willingness to secure its borders and maintain a credible defense posture. Poland has recognized the importance of upgrading its military capabilities in order to protect its interests and contribute to regional stability in a constantly changing global security environment.
We cannot afford to show weakness because, unfortunately, the only language Russians and Belarusians understand is the language of strength. We demonstrate new equipment and that our army is changing.
This comprehensive military modernization not only strengthens Poland's national security, but also cements Poland's position as a vital actor in the broader European security environment. For starters, for many years, the country endured a brain drain, as a large number of skilled workers sought better economic prospects elsewhere. This exodus not only resulted in the loss of talent, but it also presented issues for the country's future workforce. Recent trends, though, provide reason for optimism. This brain drain has reversed in Poland, with many expatriate Poles coming home. Furthermore, Poland has welcomed almost 1.5 million Ukrainian refugees, injecting new vitality into the country's demographic makeup. These improvements are helping to enhance Poland's demographic prospects, giving a potential answer to the country's previous labor issues. Furthermore, despite tremendous progress, the country remains strongly reliant on foreign investment, notably in manufacturing and services. Poland's reliance on foreign capital makes it subject to global economic volatility and shifts in investor opinion. As a result, Poland has yet to build its own local behemoths in high-value industries. To achieve actual economic dominance, domestic enterprises with a global presence must be nurtured and grown. Without such indigenous champions, Poland may find itself stuck in the middle class, unable to make the transition to higher-value industries and innovation-driven economic growth. Not to mention that Poland's relationship with the European Union has been strained as a result of disagreements over the rule of law and fears about democratic backsliding. These issues have the potential to stymie Poland's access to EU funding, which have been critical to the country's development and modernization. Losing access to these funds could have serious repercussions for Poland's continued development. Navigating these disagreements and finding common ground with the EU is crucial to ensuring that Poland can continue to benefit from its membership in the Union while upholding the rule of law and democratic principles. Despite Poland's great economic success and military expansion, the country faces internal and external difficulties. To acquire essential finances, the country must confront its widening political and social differences, negotiate EU ties efficiently, and diversify its economy beyond reliance on foreign capital and low-skilled labor. Overcoming these challenges is critical to sustaining Poland's exceptional rise and ensuring the country's sustained expansion and importance as a European success story. With that, let's end the video. This is Visionomics, signing out.